Most people think neglect means abuse, shouting, or cruelty, but the truth is, the most damaging kind of neglect is silent. It hides in what wasn't said, in the hugs that never came, in the moments you needed comfort but only found distance. Emotional neglect doesn't leave bruises, it leaves confusion, a quiet voice in your head asking, "Why do I always feel a little unloved, even when people love me?" Today, we'll uncover 13 psychological signs that you were emotionally neglected as a child and how they still shaped your mind, your relationships, and your sense of self. 1. You downplay your pain. You tell yourself it's fine, even when it's not. You've mastered the art of acting okay because as a child, no one taught you that pain deserves attention. Neglect trained you to make your emotions small so you wouldn't be a burden. Over time, your brain learned to suppress emotional distress automatically. Psychologists call this emotional numbing. It's a survival reflex that once kept you safe from disappointment, but now it hides your real needs. You dismiss heartbreak as drama, sadness as weakness, and stress as nothing serious. But unacknowledged pain doesn't disappear. It lingers quietly, shaping your sense of worth. Healing begins the moment you stop minimizing what hurts and start believing your feelings matter. 2. You feel responsible for everyone's emotions. You can walk into a room and instantly sense tension. Someone's upset, and your body reacts. Heart racing, shoulders tensed, ready to fix it. This sensitivity isn't random. As a neglected child, your safety depended on reading others' moods. You became a hyper-attuned caretaker, scanning faces for danger or approval. While this made you empathetic, it also wired your nervous system to overfunction. You take emotional responsibility for others while neglecting yourself. You can't relax until everyone's okay. But that's not empathy. That's anxiety in disguise. True empathy includes you too. You're not responsible for anyone's emotional weather. You're allowed to step out of the storm and feel your own climate. 3. You struggle to identify what you need. Someone asks, "What do you need right now?" And your mind goes blank. It's not that you don't have needs. It's that you stopped listening to them long ago. In a neglected childhood, expressing needs often led to disappointment or silence, so your brain adapted by muting that inner voice entirely. Psychologists call this need suppression, when your system shuts down awareness of hunger, fatigue, or emotional craving to protect you from rejection. But as an adult, that silence becomes confusion. You might feel restless, empty, or lost without knowing why. Healing starts small. Notice what brings you relief, what drains you, what you crave. The goal isn't perfection, it's permission to matter. 4. You feel guilty for resting. You finally sit down to relax, and guilt creeps in, whispering that you're wasting time or falling behind. This guilt often traces back to conditional love. As a child, you may have received attention only when you were helpful or productive, so your brain learned that rest equals worthlessness. This belief creates a toxic loop where busyness feels like safety and stillness feels like failure. But humans aren't machines. We're organisms that need recovery to function. Your worth isn't measured by output or performance. Think about it. Even your phone needs charging, and no one calls it lazy. Rest isn't indulgence, it's maintenance. The world won't collapse if you exhale. It might actually expand.
Number 5. You're uncomfortable with kindness. When someone shows you genuine care, you freeze. Compliments make you uneasy. Affection feels like a trick. That discomfort isn't arrogance, it's self-protection. Your nervous system was shaped by scarcity, not safety. Neglect wired you to associate warmth with unpredictability. Psychologists call this attachment insecurity. Your body doesn't trust love because it wasn't consistent growing up. So when someone offers kindness, your subconscious scans for danger instead of comfort. You might even sabotage relationships that feel too good. But the truth is, kindness isn't manipulation, it's nourishment. Your only task now is to let small acts of care land without suspicion. Love doesn't always have to be earned. Sometimes it's just given. Number 6. You struggle to accept compliments. You brush off praise with, "It was nothing," or "Anyone could have done it." But behind that modesty is doubt, a voice that says, "I don't deserve this." Neglected children rarely receive validation, so they grow into adults who distrust recognition. It clashes with the self-image shaped by neglect, one built on self-worth distortion. You might interpret compliments as pity or exaggeration because they conflict with your internal belief, "I'm not enough." But compliments aren't threats. They're mirrors reflecting parts of you you've ignored. Learning to accept them isn't vanity, it's healing. Try responding with a simple, "Thank you," Each time you do, you're teaching your brain a new truth, that you are indeed worthy of being seen. Number 7, you avoid asking for help. You pride yourself on handling everything alone. You'd rather struggle quietly than risk depending on anyone. This extreme self-reliance is called the hyper-independence, a psychological defense formed in neglect. When caregivers were unavailable, you learned, if I don't do it myself, it won't get done. That belief once protected you from disappointment, but now it isolates you. Independence isn't bad until it becomes armor that blocks connection. You might think asking for help equals weakness, but in reality, it's courage. It's trusting the world again after it once failed you. Healing begins the moment you admit, I can't do this alone, because even the strongest trees still need sunlight and water to grow. Number 8, you feel empty when life gets calm. Peace makes you uneasy. When everything is fine, you start waiting for something to go wrong. That's the legacy of neglect. Your nervous system got used to emotional droughts or storms, never calm skies. This state is known as hyperarousal, where your brain remains on alert even in safety. You unconsciously seek chaos because stability feels foreign. You might start unnecessary arguments or overthink simple situations just to feel something familiar, tension. But calm isn't danger. It's just silence after years of noise. The emptiness you feel isn't proof something is missing, it's your body relearning peace. Don't run from it, sit with it. That quiet space is what healing actually sounds like. Number 9, you over-apologize. You say sorry when someone bumps into you. You apologize for speaking up, for having emotions, for existing too loudly. This habit isn't politeness, it's fear. Neglect often conditions a child to believe they're a burden. Over-apologizing becomes a survival tool to avoid rejection or anger. Psychologists call it fawn response, one of the trauma reactions where you appease others to feel safe. But excessive apologies chip away at your sense of self. You start to believe you're always at fault. The truth is, you don't owe the world constant apology. Try replacing sorry with thank you. Instead of sorry I'm late, say thanks for waiting. Gratitude communicates respect without sacrificing your self-worth.
10. You normalize loneliness. You tell yourself you prefer being alone. But deep down, solitude doesn't feel like peace, it feels like safety from disappointment. Emotional neglect teaches that connection is unreliable, so your mind rewires itself for avoidant attachment, distancing to protect from pain. Loneliness becomes familiar, even comfortable. You might call it independence, but it's really self-preservation. Yet neuroscience shows connection isn't optional. It's as essential as food. Healing doesn't mean forcing closeness overnight. It means slowly rebuilding trust in people. Start with small connections, eye contact, a conversation, a walk with someone safe. Because needing others doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. And your humanity is not a flaw. 11. You struggle to regulate emotions. You either feel too much or nothing at all. Emotional neglect disrupts co-regulation, the process where caregivers help children manage feelings through comfort. Without that guidance, you learn to shut down or explode instead. Now, as an adult, sadness turns into rage and anxiety becomes paralysis. You judge yourself for being too sensitive or emotionally unstable, but these reactions aren't personality flaws. They're unhealed patterns. Healing emotional regulation means learning to pause before reacting, breathe before spiraling, and name what you feel instead of running from it. Your emotions were never the enemy. They just needed guidance, not punishment. It's not about control. It's about compassion for the child still learning inside you. 12. You feel invisible in groups. In a crowd, you shrink. You stay quiet, blending into the background. Neglect taught you invisibility as safety. If no one noticed you, no one could hurt you. But as an adult, that invisibility becomes loneliness. You withhold opinions, laughter, or needs because visibility still feels dangerous. Psychologists describe this as self-erasure, a defense where you sacrifice authenticity for safety. But hiding won't protect you anymore. It just starves you of connection. You don't need to dominate rooms, just exist in them fully. Speak, even if your voice shakes, because being seen isn't arrogance, it's presence. And presence is how the world finally gets to meet the real you. 13. You have a constant sense of something missing. Even when life is good, there's a quiet ache, a sense that something essential is missing. That feeling isn't emptiness, it's recognition. It's your inner child remembering what it never received. Emotional nourishment. Neglect creates a subtle grief that doesn't fade, only softens when understood. Psychologists call it unmet attachment hunger, a longing for safety and validation that never came. But the good news, you can still give it to yourself. Through therapy, self-compassion, or gentle curiosity, you can fill that missing space with presence. You're not chasing what's gone, You're discovering what's been waiting inside all along. Love that finally stays. Most people spend their lives chasing what neglect once took from them. Love, safety, belonging. But healing doesn't mean rewriting your past. It means reparenting the parts of you that were never seen. Start by doing the smallest radical thing. Listen to yourself. Validate yourself. Care for yourself the way no one once did. Because understanding your past isn't weakness, it's wisdom. And wisdom is power. If you found yourself in these signs, you're not broken, you're awakening. Subscribe to Think Wise, where we decode the hidden psychology behind who you've become and who you can still become.